Hey guys, Cameron with CBM Reviews here, and I'm here to give you a review of the new Titans episode, Asylum. This is not going to be like one of my normal reviews because this one is going to contain spoilers. Normally, I try to keep my episodes spoiler-free, but in order to really talk about this episode, there are just some things that I have to talk about. Before I continue, if you want to see my thoughts about previous Titans episodes, or maybe even my thoughts on Daredevil, Luke Cage, anything like that, go ahead and click that subscribe button. You want to know as soon as I post a video? Go ahead and hit that notification bell. You're notified every single time I post a video. And only because he had a cameo in Teen Titans Go to the Movies, I am promoting my Stan Lee shirt that's available in my store. The link is in the description. If you're a big fan of Stan, you gotta get this merch. But having said that, let's get down to this episode of Titans. And in all honesty, I want to tell you how I feel about it, but I'm going to wait until the end. This starts off where the episode Jason Todd ends, where Dick Grayson comes back. And by the way, the last episode, the joke was not intentional. I noticed it in edit, so I thought I'd have some fun with it. From now on, I'm either saying his full name or just his last name. So it's either going to be Dick Grayson or just Grayson. So having said that, Grayson gets back to where the Titans are holed up, and come to find out after Raven talks with the guy that's chained up in the, I guess it's the bathroom, her mother's still alive, and so she decides she wants to go find him. Grayson says no, Kari says no, and even though Gar says no, he really meant yes. So they go, just the two of them, go to this place which is kind of like an asylum, but it looks abandoned, to go find her mother. And surprise, it's a trap to get captured. And then Grayson and Kari find out that they left, and so they go after them, and surprise, they get caught and they get captured. And then what ensues is a torture chamber for the three characters, and then Rachel's interrogated by the old guy, who was chained up, but is now no longer chained up. How did he get from point A to point B? It's never explained how, even though it's asked, and that's a huge flaw, which is the first of many. But each one of them go through different various torture situations. Kari is strapped down, intubated, and is experimented on, and it's in gruesome ways, but we aren't shown the gruesomeness of it. Essentially, she goes through different various forms of surgery without any anesthetics because they're trying to find out more about what makes her tick. They know she has powers, they don't know what's causing it, and that's what happens with her. Meanwhile, Gar is locked up in a cage. They want to figure out what he can do. He refuses to show them. And Grayson is locked in a chair and has to go through the psychiatrics of his mind, kind of like a direct Jonathan Crane serum, because he has to confront his younger self, and his younger self beats the crap out of him, talking about, you ruined my life, this, that, and the other. And it's kind of vague. They don't pinpoint it, even though you can kind of infer. And I say it's vague because of something that happens later on in the episode. But anyway, Rachel is interrogated by the old guy. She kills him. Then she goes to find her mother. She finds her mother. It's an awkward scene. And then she goes and frees Gar, who there's a scientist that comes and he's like, I'm gonna stop you guys from escaping, and he turns into a tiger and attacks the guy and actually bites him. And it's probably the best scene of the episode, where you can see how disgusted he is that he bit somebody and he's got blood and stuff in his mouth and everything. So they escape there, and they decide, okay, now we gotta go get Grayson out, and they untie him, and he escapes the psyches of his mind, so to speak. And then they go get Kari, and that's where a whole bunch of doctors are. So there's a fight that ensues, the alarms get tripped, and now they gotta go out. Grayson has to fight a whole hallway full of guards, and he does so even though he was previously drugged and things like that. We're not paying attention to it. And then something happens in the episode, which normally, like I said, I don't give spoilers, but this is a pivotal moment in the episode where they're escaping, and then they're right next to a gas line. Grayson stops Kari and says, you got enough left? We gotta blow this whole place up. There are a bunch of guards lying on the floor. They've given the stay alive moan. So they're not dead. They've all got broken jaws, broken clavicles, maybe some broken arms, maybe a broken leg or two, but they're all alive with, serious injuries, but at this point not life-threatening. So then Dick Grayson decides to blow up the whole building, murdering every single person there. We've seen him be dark before. We've seen him be brutal. We've even seen him refuse to save the life of somebody. But this was abject, straight up murder. And this is the problem that I have, because he kind of goes through a reflective moment before he gives the order, hey, let's blow this popsicle stand. And you would think that he would have paused and said, no, this isn't who I am. I need to go back to who I was before, because his younger self in that whole psyche was beating him up. It's like, I hate you. I hate what you turned me into. And you would think that thought process was, you turned me into a murderer. You turned me into a killer. I no longer have any control. And so when given the choice of letting these guys go or killing them all, he kills them all. It doesn't make sense to me on a storytelling level. And then of course they all escape, and Grayson burns his Robin costume, which I didn't even realize was already there. It made no sense why it was there, but he did it anyway. So how do I feel about this episode? It was a disjointed, garbled storytelling mess with just a few good scenes in it. However, the story was pretty bad. I've talked about episodes that I didn't like for whatever reasons, and I've talked to other members of this channel, and sometimes they agree with me, sometimes they don't agree with me, but this one, I mean, I've gone into like a little bit deeper. Like I said, I normally don't give a spoiler review, but this one I felt like I had to because of the glaring flaws in this particular story. It's one of those episodes to where if you take it a little bit deeper than face value, it almost makes you not want to continue watching the story, because they kind of wrap things up a little bit with the promo for the next episode. This episode I had a lot of issues with. I watched it and I enjoyed, like I said, certain parts. The guard turning into a tiger and mauling the guy was easily the best scene, and not because the guy gets mauled, but because the look on Gar's face after he does it, and you can just see the disgust, and he feels like he's a monster at this point. And I wish that they would have spent a little bit more time dealing with that, because that was the best scene in this. But everybody else, it just doesn't feel right. And this is right after my glaring negative review of Black Lightning's The Book of Consequences. The next thing that I review, hopefully, will be positive. So that's my review of the latest episode of Titans. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. You enjoyed this video? Hit that like button. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Share this video with all your friends. And as always, this is Cameron with CBM Reviews. We'll see you next time.
Your birth mother is still alive.
My mom's alive.
They're holding her at some asylum.
We've got the girl. I don't want to kill either of them.
Don't hurt her.
That depends on you.
Hello, Mr. Grayson. Increase his dosage.
You risk stopping his heart.
Yes.